And good morning. This is Ralph with the morning stream about freedom through home business. And lately we've been talking a lot about mindset, and mindset is probably one of the, if not the most important thing in becoming successful in running your home business or really running any kind of a business, succeeding in anything in life. You have to really have the right mindset. You have to believe that what you want to do is possible for you to accomplish. If you don't believe what you want to do is possible, you probably won't achieve it. You will probably not even try to achieve it. But if you get it in your head that what you want to do, what you feel that you need to do, is doable, it is possible, and that you are equipped to do it, then you will probably succeed. You may fail the first few times, but if you're determined, you will learn from those failures. You will continue to grow, develop, and then eventually find your level of success, whatever that may be. So, the programming that we have going on in our minds is critical to success. I almost entitled this stream "Programming Your Mind with Affirmations," but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, we really need to title it "Reprogramming Your Mind with Affirmations," because a lot of people out there, a lot of us are running on programs that were put up into our minds at the age of 7 or 8 or 9, really our formative years, our early life experiences where we were taught, to trust people, or we were taught not to trust people. And we have these programs running in our head, and they're running in the background. We most of us are blissfully unaware that those programs are running in the background of our minds. But I mean, we deal with them in one of our primary businesses, my wife and I. We deal with people that are running on outdated programs, and these people are not aware that those programs are running in their head. And it's keeping them from finding love. It's keeping them from finding success. It's just keeping them from finding their soulmate, the man or the woman of their dreams. And the problem, this took us a few years to really begin to see the patterns and to begin to help our clients figure out. But we do a lot of work with people in the area of love and relationships. And there's a lot of people out there that had childhoods in which they were taught, at an early age, that members of the opposite sex could not be trusted. We have women that come to us for advice, and you dig a little more deeply into their backgrounds, and you begin to realize, the reason you can't trust men today is because what happened to you years ago. You were growing up, your father left the family, and what did that teach you about men? Okay, they can't be trusted, but you want to get married anyway, but you got that program running in the back of your mind. All men will leave you. They will abandon you. All men cannot be trusted. And what happens so many times in all of our minds is that we are running on past experiences from our formative years in which one or two or maybe three or four people let us down and really failed us. We felt they failed us. They ran out on us. They abandoned us, and that gave us the message. Okay, you can't trust people because these one or two or more people failed me in my early childhood. It then translates to okay, I can't trust anybody. And if a person was raised in an environment where the people that were closest to you failed you, in a big way, violated your trust in a huge way, then that can leave the impression on a young mind that nobody can be trusted. I have to fend for myself, and I really can't open up to anybody. And it can take people years and years to finally work up the courage to become vulnerable again and to open themselves up to trust another human being. And then, God forbid, if that relationship goes bad, that just reinforces the negative programming all the more. But, if that relationship works out and the person is encouraged and the person begins to believe that finding love, finding happiness, finding success is possible, then they're empowered to open up more, to explore more, and to really get out there and start living life to the fullest, at least to try to live a fuller life. And the good news is that we can actually become active participants in the programming of our own minds. We can actually choose to reprogram our minds using a variety of different things. Now, in the remaining time of this stream, I'll talk about using affirmations because that is one powerful tool. Another powerful tool is meditation, mindfulness meditation. We can calm our minds down. We can begin to just focus on our breath, focus on the breathing, and just become aware of some of the random thoughts that go through our minds. Become more aware on a moment by moment basis, really, what we are doing in our day to day lives, how we are feeling, and why we do some of the things that we do. Because a lot of times, people will do some weird stuff, strange stuff. And you ask them, why did you do that? And a lot of times people will quite honestly say, I don't know. Seemed like a good idea at the time. I don't know. And a lot of people are just so out of touch with their own feelings, with their own programming that's running in the background of their own minds. They really don't know why they do half the stuff that they do. But if we learn to slow down, to reflect, to really spend a little bit of time in meditation every day, we can become aware of some of the stuff that's going on in our own minds and in our own hearts. And then we can take the next step and begin to reprogram some of that outdated programming with affirmations. And I was thinking as I was putting this stream together, kind of mentally in my own mind, how it is that when we have computers, like right now, uh, I grew up in the age where nobody had a home computer. It was like computers were they weren't even in the office when I was growing up. They were in some laboratory. I mean, they were, high tech was like a computer would take up half a room in a big warehouse. And now it's like we shrunk all that down to we can fit a lot of that computing power in a laptop computer. But, when I was growing up, we didn't have home computers. But now lately, over the last, 20, 30 years, home computers have been the thing. And we are very good. A lot of us are very, you might say, religious about making sure that your programs are running the most up to date software, that you got the latest programs. Our first home computer back in the early days of 2000 and something, our first home computer ran on a program called Vista. I believe it was called Home Vista, and that served us for the longest time because I hate to throw anything out. I like to keep things running as long as I can. And when that old computer finally gave out, the next computer that we had ran on Windows 7, I believe. And then we updated to Windows 8. Then we updated to Windows 10. And then, I updated to Windows 11. Sometimes I wonder why I did that. because I kind of think Windows 10 is better than Windows 11. But I mean, we're in that mindset with our computers that we want to make sure that our computers are running on the latest programming, but yet in our own minds, we're still running, many of us are, on programs that were put into place back when we were 7 years old. We haven't updated our mental programming. We haven't updated our mental roadmap. And if we want to succeed in the here and now, in the present day, we really need to make sure that our mental software is updated just like we update our computers. And again, the good news is that this can be done through the use of affirmations. Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich, in the chapter on faith, he talks about self confidence. And he talks about self confidence as being a very important part of faith. Most people, when we hear about faith, it's like, yeah, I believe. I'm religious. I go to church. I believe in God. But do you believe in yourself? Most people don't. A lot of people don't. I won't say most people, but there are a lot of people out there that don't. A lot of good religious people that, have a lot of faith in God. Do you have faith in yourself? A lot of times they don't. And the successful people in life, they do have faith in themselves. And they believe that they can do something. They have that level of self-confidence. And a lot of people think that, oh boy, if I was just raised in the right environment, if I was raised in a more nurturing, supportive environment when I was 7 or 8, I'd have all kinds of self confidence right now. And I could be like that guy that, owns, micro something or this, that, or the other thing. I could be successful like that because I would have the self confidence. But, everybody failed me when I was 7 or 8 or 9. And now I don't have self confidence. So I can't do anything, and it's all their fault. Well, that's not entirely true. We can develop self confidence at any age. It just depends on how badly we want it and what we are willing to do to grow that self confidence. And then once we decide we are going to grow a level of self confidence in our own lives, we can do that. It doesn't matter what happened to us, good or bad, at the age of 7 or in our early childhood years or even what happened to you last week. If you're able to be present in the here and now and you are willing to uh, do the work that's necessary to reprogram your mind to grow your own level of self confidence, then you can do that with a practice that Napoleon Hill calls the art of auto suggestion. Today we call it affirmations, but back when Napoleon Hill was writing the book Think and Grow Rich, he called it auto suggestion. That was the term of that day. And we still use that term more or less, but the more popular term is affirmation. And the way Napoleon Hill taught this is that first you have to write down what you want to believe about yourself. Okay. Write it down and then read that, in the morning. Read that before you go to bed. And then you need to grow the feeling that what you want to achieve in your own personal life, like I am an awesome marketer, I am an awesome presenter. I'm an awesome public speaker. Maybe the thought of getting up in front of two people and giving a talk on any topic scares the living tar out of you. But if you want to grow your self confidence, you have to say to yourself, I am an awesome public speaker. And then you have to learn to feel the feeling of becoming an awesome, of not becoming, but of being an awesome public speaker. And Napoleon Hill goes through this in the chapter on faith in Think and Grow Rich. And he's got an outline for developing, self-confidence. And I'm just kind of summarizing here. But yeah, he says use auto suggestion. And it goes back to the principle, a threefold principle here: conceive it, believe it, achieve it. What the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Morning coffee here. Mm, good stuff. Good stuff to put on a coffee mug, too. But yeah, what the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And so this is why Napoleon Hill says, okay, you got to write it down. You got to get it focused in your head. You got to have it in your mind first that, okay, what I want to do, I want to be an awesome public speaker. So, yeah, you have to learn to get that in your head that you are what you want to become. You already are that. And then you got to believe it. You've got to feel it in your heart. And by repeating it to yourself over and over and over again, you will begin to get the feeling that this is already a done deal, that I've got this, I can do this. But you have to open up the heart to believe it. And sometimes this can be easier said than done. Other times, other people can do it more easily than others. We're all kind of different depending on, what kind of negative programming we need to overcome and what kind of negative programs we have to kick out and replace with more positive ones. But yeah, some people can get this very quickly. Other people can spend years on it and they progress very slowly. Still, other people, they get it in their head that, yeah, this is a good practice that can work for some people, but I'm different. It's not going to work for me. And Greg Braden gives a presentation on this. He talks about having a friend back when he was working, I think in the 80s or 90s or something like that. But he was working with this one guy who was a programmer with computers, I believe it was. And he was working with trying to reprogram his own mind with affirmations. And yeah, he was writing down this one specific affirmation, and he was using those little sticky notes, post-it notes, and he had them written out and he posted them on the bathroom mirror. He had them posted in the kitchen. He had them posted in his home office. He had them posted on the front door. They were pretty much plastered all over the house with that one affirmation. And every time he went to a certain room in the house, he would see that affirmation. And Greg Braden went into the house. I think he was picking him up for work, and he notes the affirmations. And he said, "Hey, great! You're trying to improve your life through the use of affirmations." And the guy said, "Yeah. I heard it works for some people." And he said, "Yeah, I think it's a waste of time, but I'm trying it." And that's when Greg Braden knew his friend would not succeed in his efforts because, yeah, he had it in his head that he could change, that other people could change their lives through the use of positive affirmations, but he didn't believe that he could do it. He didn't believe it was possible for himself. So, yeah, he could conceive that this was a possibility that some people could improve their lives through the use of positive affirmations, but he didn't believe that he could do it. But he was spinning his wheels anyway, trying to get it done and going through the motions. And as long as we view affirmations that way, that they probably won't work, but we're going to go through the motions anyway, what will most likely happen many times is that trying to reprogram our minds with positive affirmations will be something that we will do for a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month or two. And then after that, we'll just rip down all the post it notes, throw them in the trash, and say, I knew it. Wouldn't work. Wouldn't work for me. I'm different. I'm a tough egg. I'm hard to crack. uh, just wouldn't work. I knew it wouldn't work. And yeah, when you got that mindset where you think, okay, I know it all, it's not going to work. Guess what? It's not going to work. And we see people like this in business coaching and love and relationships coaching. It's like, yeah, they believe that maybe what you're saying is true. It's possible for other people, but it's not possible for me, and they're just completely uncoachable, completely untrainable, because they've still got that mental programming that they just refuse to let go of. They're just so attached to that negative programming. And there's a Zen Buddhist parable talks about, if you want to fill your cup with something new, you first have to empty it out from your past experiences. If I've got coffee in this cup right now, if I want to put lemonade in this cup, I've got to drain the cup of the coffee. And yeah, I can't add anything new to that cup until I get rid of the old stuff. And it's the same way with our minds. A lot of times, if we have old beliefs that maybe served us well back when we were in our early childhood, but which are outdated right now, beliefs that are holding us back right now, we have to empty out those old beliefs. We have to get rid of that stuff. We have to be able to do a little bit of introspection and say, okay, what beliefs served me well in childhood, but which I need to get rid of right now if I want to grow and progress to be a happy individual living in the 21st century? What do I have to get rid of? What do I need to hold on to? What do I need to discard? And then what do I need to add that's new that I need to use to update my mind, grow my level of self-confidence, and be able to progress into the future a happier, healthier, more whole human being. And so, yeah, we do have to go through a period of introspection. But yeah, once we get those negative thoughts kind of identified and brought under control to a certain degree, then we can begin to see what we need to let go. And then we can see, okay, I need to take this old outdated stuff and replace it with something better. And then when you get to that frame of mind, I believe that the use of affirmations can work. The use of autosuggestion can work. And what Napoleon Hill teaches in his chapter on faith in Think and Grow Rich is that you just have to keep repeating this to yourself over and over and over again for as long as it takes. And let this be your ritual. In the morning, get up, read your affirmation, read what you're wanting to reprogram your mind with. What is your goal? What is it that you want to grow and develop in your life? Read that in the morning and then state it as if it is already a done deal. And then go through the rest of your day and live your life and try to incorporate that belief into your daily life. And then in the evening, read that statement again. What it is that you want to achieve in your life. What level of self-confidence do you need to grow in your life right now? And read it again before you go to bed and believe it as if it is already a done deal. For some people, this may take some time. This may take just a lot of repetition. This may take, doing it in the morning, doing it at noon, doing it in the evening, maybe spending a few minutes uh, at a time, several times a day, like 20 minutes a day, doing mantra meditation. And, what are mantras? It's like you're chanting either vocally or chanting in your own mind a certain phrase over and over and over again. It's kind of like an affirmation, isn't it? When I got into meditation, I was very much into mindfulness meditation, by, breath meditation, just becoming aware of breathing in, breathing out, and going with that breath. And I would do that 3 hours a day when I first started meditation. Uh, and I didn't think that japa meditation or mantra meditation was something that would be beneficial to me. And then I began to learn about affirmations, and then I began to make that connection. It's like a mantra. It's like an affirmation. Only affirmations, we tend to do them in our native language. A lot of times, people that practice mantras, they will get a mantra that's in Sanskrit or Pali or some other language, and they'll learn how to repeat it. They may not know exactly what it even means, but they're told by a certain guru that okay, once you start vibrating your whole mind with this mantra, it will change you. It will affect you. And that is true to a certain extent. That yeah, once you begin chanting a certain mantra, it does. It sets up a vibratory level in your head, and if you keep doing it long enough, that vibration will go through your entire body, and really, you don't even have to know the meaning of the mantra in order for the mantra to have an effect. But if you want to be more conscious about doing your own life reprogramming and doing your own mental reprogramming, you should be doing the mantra, the affirmation in your own native language, I believe. Something that your mind can understand, something that your heart can understand, and then something that will, yeah, vibrate throughout your entire being. And if you take a good affirmation and you just repeat it over and over and over again, for like 20 minutes at a time, that can have a good effect. You do that twice a day or 3 times a day, then yeah, that can have a good effect. But the key steps here, you have to believe, you have to conceive it in your head first. So yeah, write down what it is that you want to achieve. Write it down as a doable goal. Can't be something outlandish. Like, if you're broke right now and you want to have a trillion gazillion dollars by lunchtime next Tuesday, and you let that be your affirmation, probably won't work because deep down inside, you know you can't do that. You believe you can't do that. And yet you're trying to tell your mind that you can do that. Your mind knows better, your heart knows better, or they think they know better. And it's like, yeah, you probably won't achieve that in that time frame. But if you want to set it up as something a little bit more reasonable, something that's a little more, something that's easier for you to believe, then yeah, you will probably have greater success. And you can stair step your way up. You can start by saying, okay, I want to become a strong, high 5 figure earner by the end of this year. And it's like, okay, if you're a low 5 figure earner now, you want to become a high 5 figure earner by the end of this year. I would say that is a doable goal. And then just, yeah, go ahead, convince yourself that you can do this. Grow whatever things that you need to grow in your own self confidence to do this. And then once you've accomplished that, take the next step. I want to go from 5 figures to 6 figures. And then after that, take the next step. I want to go from 6 figures to 7 figures. And just be willing to stair step your way up like that. But don't set up some outlandish goal like, I want to become a trillionaire or a gazillionaire by next Tuesday lunch. It's like, okay, you're probably not going to achieve that. Is it possible to achieve that? For some people, yeah, it may be. Some people have become millionaires just seemingly overnight. Trillionaires, I haven't heard of that happening seemingly overnight. I've never heard of a guy going from homeless to trillionaire just within a week. So that makes me think probably not possible. Most people would believe, yeah, that's not possible. I can't do that. So you have to start with a level of belief that you can begin to swallow. that, okay, maybe I can't go from homeless and broke to a trillionaire in a week, but maybe I can go from being destitute now to being employed by the end of this year. And maybe not even being a five-figure earner, but being a four-figure earner. And then maybe being a five-figure earner. And then maybe being a six-figure earner, and so on and so forth. And if we can stage our affirmations and learn to grow with our affirmations, take something that you believe is achievable, or something that maybe you don't quite believe is achievable, but you can grow that level of belief in yourself and use that as a starting point. But the trick is, we have to take something that we want to grow in our life, and we have to believe in our head that this is possible, that this is doable, this is a goal that we can accomplish. And then we have to grow the feeling in our heart that, yeah, this is something we can do, this is something that we can accomplish. And then we need to take the next step to actually believing that it is done, that our goal is accomplished, and feeling like we are already living in the reality that, yeah, I have self confidence. I have the job of my dreams. I have the career of my dreams. I have my own successful home business already established. And it feels great. It feels wonderful. It feels good to have this level of control and this level of freedom in my life. This is something that I want. This is something that I already have, and it feels good. And even if you don't have it already, but you can get that feeling in your heart, in your soul, in your very being, and you can feel it done for you as a present reality, then things will begin to open up and you will grow a level of self confidence that will say, okay, I can do anything I need to do to make my goal a reality. And as long as you have it in your head, you have it in your heart, you have it in your emotions, in your feelings, you have all these three things, all these three parts of your mind, the cognitive mind, the heartfelt mind, the emotional mind. You have all these things in tune, in harmony, then yeah, you are set to accomplish whatever your goal is that you want to accomplish. So you have to work with these things on three different levels. Brain, heart, soul, and and then once you get all those three factors in tune, yeah, you will begin to accomplish some great things. But it doesn't happen overnight, at least not for most people. It might for some, didn't for me. Other people, I mean, they progress fast. Still other people, they progress slow. We're all different. You may take up the practice of using affirmations and just knock it out of the park within 30 days. Good on you. Great. Some people are like that. There are other people that have been working on it for years and years and years, and only now beginning to see some progress. And then there are still others that work on it for a few months and then throw in the towel. It's a waste of time. Why did I even bother? This is all just a bunch of nonsense. Phooey. Maybe it works for some. It won't work for me because I am a tough cookie and I'm just impossible. And yeah, you say that something's impossible for you, you've made it impossible. So yeah. So yeah, affirmations, they can work. They do work if you work them. But yeah, you got to really work with it on three different levels: your mind, your heart, your soul. Bring those three areas of your being into focus, into harmony. And yeah, there's nothing that you cannot accomplish. I firmly believe that. I've seen that work in my own life, and man, it makes me think so many years I've wasted just, spinning my wheels, not updating my old programming, and not really being in touch with my own thoughts, my own feelings, my old programming, and just feeling like life was just totally out of control. And now things are totally different. And yeah, I've made those changes through some of the practices that I've been talking about right now. So, affirmations, they do work. They can work for you if you work them. Uh, this evening's live stream, going to be sharing with you some of my favorite affirmations. I've got one from Paramahansa Yogananda, a demand for prosperity that I will share. It's a rather long one. I'll have to read it off my Kindle book. And then there's another one by Bob Proctor, a very popular money affirmation. Love that one. And then there's another one by Dr. Pillai, and it's a very super simple one. Anybody can remember this. It's just tailor made for you in your own language. You can create it yourself, remember it very easily, something you don't have to read, and something that can be very effective if you just sit down and do it on a daily basis. And don't give up. This is where so many people fail. They get it in their head that this should work within 30 days, or this should work within 60 days, or this should work within 6 months. And a lot of people, we just don't have the habit of thinking in terms of 5-year plans, 5-year goals, long term goals, sticking with something more than just a few weeks or 2 months or 6 months. It's like, yeah, if we're quitting and starting over on anything every 2 or 3 months, we're never going to succeed in anything because, yeah, it takes time to grow. It takes 10,000 hours of practice to become an expert in any discipline. You know how many years it takes to get 10,000 hours of experience? About 5 years. That's why we say get a 5-year plan. Stick with it for 5 years, baby. And yeah, that'll give you the 10,000 hours of lived life experience doing something. And then at the end of that 5-year period, you'll have an expert level of understanding of whatever it is that you're trying to do. But you know what? It won't happen in 2 or 3 months. It takes long-term commitment. It's true for home business. That's true for any kind of business. It's true for any level of art or any discipline you want to grow. And I believe it's true for mental affirmations. Some people may see great results within 60 days. Other people, it may take 6 months to a year to begin to show some level of progress. And other people, it may take longer. But if you get it in your head, I'm going to stick with this practice, and I'm going to stick with it for a few years, and I'm not giving up. I'm going to let this practice change me, and I'm going to grow with this practice, updating it as necessary, and just living it out and growing with it. Then I believe even the toughest nut to crack is going to show some progress. But yeah, it just takes long-term commitment, like water dripping on a rock. A little bit of water dripping on a rock, it's not going to change that rock in any observable way over a period of just a few weeks. But over a period of hundreds of years, millions of years, that rock is going to be weathered away. It takes time. Give yourself the time to grow. Give yourself permission to grow as fast or as slow as you need to go, and then stick with it. And use those affirmations on a regular basis. Napoleon Hill says morning and night. Personally, I think morning, noon, and night is a good way to go. Different teachers have different methods, but the common denominator is just sticking with it on a daily basis, and doing it for as long as it takes. And you enter into the practice of using affirmations with that attitude, with that mindset. Things will begin to change. Maybe quickly, maybe slowly, but things will begin to change. Just let it happen. And that's probably a good thing to close on. The minute you're able to step out of your own way and just let things happen, let things take their course, tell the universe, tell the God of your understanding what it is you want to do, and then have the ability to just step out of the way, get your own ego out of the way, get your own past negative programming, move that out of the way, let the universe come in. Let the God of your understanding come in. Let things begin to happen. And if we can just step out of our own way in life, a lot of times, we're our biggest obstacle. And if we can just step out of our own way, things can begin to happen. So, yeah, step out of your own way with the use of affirmations. And maybe in the beginning, maybe you are telling yourself, this is a bunch of, woo woo nonsense. I don't believe this is possible. Maybe it worked for him, but it won't work for me. But, if you can begin to do it and just keep right on doing it until that feeling begins to change, may take a few months, may take more than a couple of years. But yeah, eventually that feeling can change and you can begin to understand that, yeah, this is possible even for me, and just let it begin to work and then step out of the way and let things happen. This can be done with affirmations. It can be done through meditation. But yeah, with affirmations, we have the ability to reprogram our own thoughts, to upgrade our own mental programming, and really make our life better. But you have to do it. You have to practice it. You have to keep on doing it until it becomes, a feeling like it's already done, and then keep right on doing it until it really is already done in the material world. So persist, keep on going. So, yeah, that's all for now. Later on tonight, be sharing those 3 affirmations. Till then, have a great day, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.